Dear students, in this video, I will be discussing statics of particles and I will be discussing in different parts. So welcome to this first part. Let us start. So these are the contents of this lecture. First, we will have a look to applications. What are the applications of statics of particles? Then we will have the introduction. Then we will discuss the resultant of multiple forces acting on a particle. So we will discuss the resultant of two forces. Then we will study something about vectors like addition of vectors and resultant of several concurrent forces. And then we will solve sample problems. So these are some of the applications. I am showing you only one application. So as you can see in the figure, suppose this crane is hanging by these ropes. So in this slide, you can see the applications. So suppose this crane is hanging by these ropes. These four ropes are there. So by the principles which you will study in this, now we will see the introduction. So the objective for the current chapter is to investigate the effects of forces on particles. So suppose if you are having some particles, single particle or a group of particles, then you can investigate the effects of different forces that will be acting on the particles. So first thing you will understood in this chapter will be the effect of forces on particles. The next thing which you will learn in this lecture is the replacing multiple forces acting on a particle with a single equivalent or resultant force. So sometimes, suppose this is the particle and some multiple forces are acting on the particle. Suppose these three forces are acting, then you can replace all these three forces by a single resultant force, which is having the same effect as the effect of all these three forces. Okay, so this you will learn. The next thing you will learn relations between forces acting on a particle that is in a state of equilibrium. So suppose this particle is in the state of equilibrium, that is either it is or in the state of rest, or this particle is say moving with some constant velocity. Okay, so what is the relation between the forces? Suppose these three forces are applied, and these 1, 2, and 3, and this particle is in equilibrium, then we can learn the relation between the forces. What is the relation between 1, 2, and 3? That you will learn. Okay. Now let us see the resultant of two forces. So suppose this is the force. So force action of one body on another. So this we have already uh, studied in previous chapter, that if there are more than one bodies, then action of one body on another is called as force. Okay, and a force is characterized by its point of application, magnitude, line of action, and its direction. So this we have learned in the previous lecture also. So whenever some force is applied to a body, then you have to see where this force is applied, the point of application of the force, magnitude of the force, line of action of the force, and direction of the force. Now, suppose we are having two forces, P and Q. So this is the force P, this is the force Q. So experimental evidence shows that combined effect of two forces may be represented by a single resultant force. So from experiments also you can verify this thing, that if there is a body and some multiple forces are acting on the body, and if you apply a resultant force which is equivalent to the resultant of all the forces, then the effect will remain same. Okay, means the effect which is produced by P and Q is the same as the effect which is produced by R. Okay, and the resultant is equivalent to the diagonal of a parallelogram which contains the two forces in adjacent legs. So this we have already also discussed in the previous class, that suppose these are the two forces P and Q. So if you draw these forces as the two legs or two sides of this parallelogram, then the resultant will be represented by the diagonal of this parallelogram. This is also called as parallelogram law of vector addition. And force is a vector quantity. So this thing all of you knows, force is a vector quantity. That is, now vectors. So this you might have studied in your physics class also. What is a vector? So any quantity which possesses magnitude. So let us now understand about vectors. Any quantity which possesses magnitude and direction. So any physical quantity which is having both the things, that is magnitude and direction, and which we can add according to the parallelogram law. So that is called as vector. So the examples of vector are displacement, velocities, and acceleration, and force, and so on. There are different vector quantities. Then there are some physical quantities which do not need any direction. So they are called as scalar. So they possess only magnitude and no direction. Direction is not important for them. For example, mass. So we do not need any direction to specify the mass. Similarly, volume, temperature, etc. So now how you can classify vectors? So there are fixed or bound vectors. So they have well-defined points of application that cannot be changed without affecting an analysis. So some vectors, they have fixed and bound, means they have definite point of application, and you cannot change the point of application. If you change the point of application, then the results will also change. So that is called as fixed vectors. So fixed vectors are those which we cannot change, means they have to remain at a specific point. Then there are free vectors that can be freely moved in space without changing their effect on an analysis. So free vectors are those vectors that you can move along the line of action, or in a space. You can also move in a space, and there will be no effect of those vectors in the analysis. Means if you move the free vector, then the analysis will remain same, because they are free vectors, so they do not have any effect on analysis. Means you can change their position and the analysis will not change. Then third is the sliding vector. So it may be applied anywhere along their line of action. In the previous video, we have discussed about so now we will see addition of vectors. So first one is the trapezoid rule. So that is same as the parallelogram law. So if you draw the trapezium, if you have two vectors on the two sides of this parallelogram, then the resultant will be the diagonal of the parallelogram. So this is also called as trapezoid rule. Then another rule is the triangle rule for vector addition. So in the triangle rule, what you will do, suppose this is the first vector P, then what you will do, you will put the this bottom of the other vector at the tip of this. So you will start, I will suppose I will draw here. So suppose this is the first vector P, then you will start from the tip of this, the next vector you will draw from the tip of this, and suppose the vector is starting here and it is having this direction. So this is Q. Now the resultant will be this when you close this triangle, when you complete this triangle, so resultant will be this. Okay, and the direction will be opposite. Suppose you are moving this, and the direction of resultant will be from here. So the same thing is explained in this figure. So here we have taken Q first. So you can take any vector first. So here they have taken P first, and this is at the second number. In this B figure, Q is taken as the first, then P is drawn, and then this P plus Q. So it will remain same. You can also say that vector addition is commutative, and you can calculate the also by the law of cosines. So if this is the P and Q, then you can calculate R by this. Means magnitude you can calculate by this, P square plus Q square minus 2PQ cos B, where this B is the angle between the vectors. Okay, and the relation between the angles is by the law of sines, that is sine A by Q will be equals to sine B by R will be equals to sine C by A. Okay, So suppose q is this. So then sine A by q, sine B by r, and sine C by a. And this thing we already know, vector addition is commutative. That means either you are adding p plus q or q plus p, you will obtain the same answer. Means the resultant vector will be same as shown in these two figures A and B. So either we are adding p plus q or q plus p, we are getting the same vector. Means its direction is also same and its magnitude is also same. And then vector subtraction. So vector subtraction is the basically the addition of vector with a negative vector. Okay. So suppose if you want to subtract p minus q, then what you will do? You will take p and you will take the negative of q, means you will reverse the direction of q vector, and the resultant will be p minus q. Now let us see the resultant of several concurrent forces. So suppose we are having a point A. So first we should know what are the concurrent forces. So if all the forces they are passing through the same point, then those forces they are called as concurrent forces. So because these forces P, Q and S, they are passing through the same point A, so all these forces they are concurrent forces. And we can replace all these forces by a single resultant force, which is the sum of the applied forces, vector sum of the applied forces. So you can replace these forces P, Q and S by a single force R, and this R is the sum of these forces, and it will have the same effect as all these forces will together have. So how you can calculate the resultant? You simply draw one vector, then you draw second vector from the tip of first vector, then you draw third vector from the tip of the second vector, and then you simply close the polygon. Okay, so this is also called as polygon law of vector addition. Now another very important thing is the vector force components. So because sometimes when you are solving the problems, so you have to divide the force into two components. So suppose your force is acting in any arbitrary direction and you want to resolve the force into two directions, say x, y and z. So sometimes it's two direction when you are solving the problem in 2D, and sometimes you are solving the problem in 3D, then you will resolve the force in x, y and z direction, all the three. So suppose this is your initial force F. So you can resolve in direction P, so this direction and denoted by as P, and in this direction and denoted by as Q. So these two components P and Q, they will have the same effect as P. So this is just the reverse of addition, you can say. So when you add P and Q, then the F will have the same effect. Now you are dividing F into P and Q. So this is just reverse of the. Now we will solve a sample problem. So this problem contains a bolt and two forces P of 40 Newton and Q of 60 Newton are acting on this bolt, and the inclination of force P is 20 degree from horizontal, while inclination of force Q is 25 degree from P. So we have to find the resultant of these two forces. Now what strategy you can adopt for the solution? So you can adopt graphical solution strategy, as well as you can solve by using the equations. So in graphical strategy, graphical solution, you can solve by drawing the parallelogram law. In parallelogram law of vector addition, you have to make the parallelogram by considering P and Q as two sides, and then you can make the diagonal, which will represent the resultant of two forces P and Q. So this you can do in graphical technique. Another one method of graphical solution is the triangle rule. So you can make the triangle, and you can also use the law of sines and law of cosines. So you can use any one of the method, whichever you feel comfortable. So this is the graphical solution of the problem. So what we have done, so suppose this is the horizontal. So we have drawn P, and this angle will be 20 degree. Okay. Then you can take 25 degree and draw Q. And this length is suppose say 4 centimeter. And this length is 6. So now you have drawn the two sides of the parallelogram. Now next step you can do, draw a line parallel to this. So this line, this line is parallel to this line, AP, and another line you will draw parallel to this. So this is the this line is parallel to this. So in this way now your parallelogram is complete. So now you can draw the diagonal. This is the diagonal, and you can measure this angle alpha, and you can measure this length, this length. So when you measure this length, you will find there the length will be 9.8 if you have drawn in the centimeter scale. So then the answer will be 98 Newton, and this angle will be 35 degree. Yes. No, this is the graphical method. We will discuss the theoretical method also. Okay. Similarly, when you draw the triangle law, so this is the triangle law solution. So first you draw P. So this angle is 20 degree. Then what you will do, from the tip of this, you will draw the second vector, and this inclination should be 45 degree. Okay, because this 20 and 25. And next what you will do, you will complete this triangle. So again you will measure this length and this angle. Then you will find there this will is the length will be 9.8, so 98 Newton, and angle will be, so this is this method. Okay. So law of cosine says that the resultant of two vectors will be p square plus q square and minus of 2pq cos b, where b is the angle between the two vectors. Okay, so p is 40 Newton, you know, q is 60 Newton, and this angle between both the forces will be this one. So it is 55 degree, 155 degree. So if you solve this equation, then you will find the answer as 97.73. Okay, so it is very near to 98. And you also have to find this angle alpha. So because this is only the magnitude, you also need to find the direction so that you know the complete information regarding the solution. So for that you can use law of sines. So law of sines is this. So sine A by Q is equal to sine B by R. Okay. So sine B is this. You have just calculated 155 degree. Okay. Then Q is 60 Newton. We already know this. And R, this we have just calculated 97.3. So from this equation, okay, you can calculate sine A. Sine A will be equals to sine B. We have taken this Q here. Okay. So Q by R into sine B. So sine B you can calculate, Q you know, R you have calculated. So simply solve this equation and you will get A is equal to 15.04 degree, means this angle. This angle is A, 15.04. And with horizontal, you will simply add 20 degree. So alpha will be, because alpha we will take from this horizontal direction. So we simply add this 20 plus A means alpha by, so alpha will be 20 plus A means 35.04 degree. So we are getting almost the same solution by using this law of sines and law of cosines.